we're gonna have to go back over all the things, right?
Yeah.
All right, so no, we'll just make it simple. Let's paraphrase, right? We're gonna use the Darnell example and say, like, try to explain it in, like, let's say a minute. Fair? Because that will make sure that people understand that you understand it, or it'll make it more obvious that you understand it, right? So we were talking about the challenge. We noticed we noticed some things about when we started talking to people about the Health is Wealth Challenge. It's our in-house wellness challenge that we're using to help people change their relationship with food and fitness. Fair? So what we did is we put this together in the effort to help people better understand themselves, right? We came up with this whole thing to help people reach their goals based on what they're consuming. And since we are a community of functional training and holistic health, we decided to use a whole foods challenge to help people make better choices. And a lot of interesting things came up when this started. I had one client be very upset that I used the word carcinogenic. We had another client who was talking about how difficult this would be based on what we're limiting them to, right? And it was interesting to see. So what's your hot take on maybe something the challenge is teaching you?
I mean, as a whole for this challenge or this week, I think a lot of things have kind of been brought to my attention that
Sure.
I didn't fully acknowledge for myself.
Sure.
So I don't know if this is really digressing or not, but when we talked about the challenge in particular to myself, we talked about how I had to admit, I'm a food addict. I've been having a lot of trouble basically getting back on track with certain things. So with this challenge, it's designed to basically help us in ways for that.
Yeah.
I took what you were saying the other day, and I did a lot of research on food addiction. And so you were talking about the 12 steps and
For addiction.
acknowledging, that food is an addiction. I don't think many people do, though.
Yeah.
They look at food as though it's not a form of drug or not a form of addiction, but it really is. And there's actually an FAA, a Food Addictions Anonymous group that has 12 steps. And it's broken down into many categories.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, this is important.
Okay.
Definition of something, because actually,
Hey, I like it.
I found out in my research that 14% of Americans, so that's 70 million roughly, 70 million people suffer from some form of food addiction.
Food addiction. Fair.
But the part that I found the most interesting, and hopefully I can just pull it up right here, is basically they were saying that I'll go back and find it later. But it was basically breaking down what is considered a food addiction and overeating, undereating, purposes of why people do it. There's so many forms that if I had that actually pulled up would have been great to touch on. So I think for me, are you acknowledging you have an addiction? Are you acknowledging that it's going to be hard to take these changes? And it's not just taking those changes, but applying them after everything is said and done with the challenge. Every day is going to be something that you have to battle with. And then taking the steps to make that growth every single day. And it's hard.
Fair. That was more than a minute, but we go.
All right, I'm gonna make mine a minute real quick. So this challenge bringing up for me is tying in with another lesson I'm learning currently about the difference between knowledge and wisdom. We were just talking with Darnell about the gray area that
Shouts out to Darnell.
Shouts out to Darnell. About the gray area that we all live in, right? He was talking on how he speaks from that gray area in most conversation, in most relationship. He lives in that gray area. I feel like I've come from that space, and I'm realizing just from dealing with Lynn that in order to connect with other people, you kind of have to come out, because the gray area is a fog. So you have to come out of the gray area and stand on something, stand on a black or white so that you can have conversation with other people from that space. And I think it requires you to know yourself. This challenge really is bringing up that in spades for me, in the fact that I know a lot about nutrition, but have I ever applied my knowledge of nutrition to myself in order to really be wise on nutrition, and know that it works in a way that I can speak to you like, nah, that's not it. And I don't think I am, because I've never applied it to myself. It's just why I'm struggling helping clients on the nutrition side. So it's getting back to a space of being a student, and this challenge, I realize there's some apprehension around it because of my lack of wisdom.
I would say, ironically, if I say it all the time, I say that everything is connected, right? And you'll hear me say that because I truly do believe that. I try to live as close to that rhetoric as possible on a regular basis. Why I say that is because the challenges are to elicit or facilitate change, right? So what are the 3 C's?
Challenge, choice, and change.
So the challenge was presented. People are making choices. Fair? We have decided to just basically give everybody hey, you should do the challenge. Try to challenge yourself. And we're helping with the details, right? And it's funny watching people battle, like ironic, not haha, but ironic to watch a person battle with what it means to challenge oneself. Because everybody wants the challenge, but not enough to change, right? To make the choice to change. So what I'm seeing in it for me, or when I'm helping people, is I'm watching people realize their own struggles, and then what those struggles look like before they make their choice. Fair? So the one lady mentioned, she mentioned how there's a lot of vegetables that are out of season, and she only eats what's in season based on where she shops or where she gets all her food from. So we started talking about that, and she mentioned that it would be challenging, but she was willing to give it a try. Her choice, and then I had to mention to her that it's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's okay if you don't necessarily meet it, but the goal is to meet it. I want to make sure we understand the goal is to meet it, which brings us back to the point of holistic wealth, or holistic health and wealth in the space in and of itself. So when we put something together as a space, we're putting it together to give people the suggestion of the challenge, right? We're doing, the 3 C's are just a framework for people to understand what's happening when these things are done. So if you're looking for something to challenge you, that's why you're here, right? And what that challenge is going to be based on what we set up and different things. But you have a choice on how you choose to participate in said challenges. Fair? So, I'll see people say they want to get strong, and then they come in and they're lifting the lightest weights possible. And, the challenge is your mindset around what it takes to build muscle. You're not telling me what it is to build muscle. No, you know or you don't. And if I say, because again, we're offering you things, if I say, well, you build muscle by doing this, and they go, I don't want to do that, right? There's the choice, right? And what's the change that can come from it? Again, these are all the conversations we're having on a regular basis. If you decide that you want to get stronger, and we tell you to start lifting heavier or do more, and you say no, your choice was no, your change will, maybe while still occurring, will not be what it could have been. Fair? Change is going to happen just by action. What change happens is normally what we talk about.
Interesting on this individual that you're specifying with that. A goal was the strength, and when we talked about food and like what this individual like kind of eats on a daily, they're not necessarily focused on weight loss, but they want something based more holistically or like whole food diet form. They're just not willing, they weren't necessarily willing to join the challenge. But interesting in itself, like the food we intake will also affect our strength and our muscle growth as well. So it may not be the weight loss that you're looking for necessarily with this challenge, but it helps in other areas as well. So if you can apply it in those terms.
I like the thought process. But again, this is where I think like we miss the mark as coaches a lot, like in the coaching space for physical fitness. I think a lot of people miss it when they think like they have all the answers for their client. Like you're just providing solutions to your client. You don't have all the answers. Like no person has all the answers. To think you have all the answers is to miss the point of what you're actually doing. Again, to coach is to offer solutions, not all the answers. I mean, you don't know them all. Right. So when I'm sharing, again, first to offer a solution, I need to know the problem. Fair. So in order to tell my client, hey, this is what we're going over, then I need to know that's what we're going over, right? Like what's the problem I'm trying to solve is a large part of that conversation. So until you actually start having those things pop up in that way, like again, until you understand your client's problem, what you offer may not match what they need. So you have to understand your client's problem, and that is a big part of the conversation. Too many times I'll see basic meal plans, I'll see basic training, and they'll be like, well, everybody needs to do this. Sure, but what if your client absolutely hates it and won't adhere to it? Then it doesn't matter how good your plan is, because no one's gonna listen to it, right? Whether it be about nutrition or fitness, working out, it doesn't matter. An uncompliant client is a client who doesn't get what they want, right? So to make sure that we understand that, like why I think we all love fitness so much is we could immediately see the benefit between doing the work and how it affects us. Whether it be your mood, your body changes, whatever. Change was imminent when you do things in physical fitness. So if people took the same approach to their mental, that it's not directly in front of your face. But again, it's not always in front of you. It's never in front of your face directly. It's just that we've tricked ourselves into believing that, right? So we try to approach it from a holistic point, the physical, the mental, and then, sometimes we'll talk about, spirituality and stuff of that nature, but a lot of it is the physical and the mental. And we do that on purpose because, as you said earlier, that has been a large part of our conversations. A fact is a fact, right? You cannot change a fact. So a lot of the times I hear changing effects, and that's where I can test things for a client. It's like, well, eating too much is still eating too much, right? There's no going around eating too much. If you overconsume calories on a regular basis, you will put on weight. Like it's just that it really is. It's a fact proven. There's no guesswork here. The guesswork is found in the numbers and everything in between that kind of matches up the direct calorie amounts to it. But that's not even what we're talking about with half of our clients. Half of our clients are coming from diets that aren't so great. And then we're just simply saying, hey, try this whole foods challenge. And again, you can always tell who wants it, right? It's easy to see who wants to do it and who doesn't. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Look, I tell our people all the time, just don't waste my time then. I would rather you not do it and for you to continue to enjoy your time here than for you to do it and I feel like I'm tracking you down and you just feel like I'm bothering you. Again, it's important what we do as coaches to help our clients. Fair?
Fair.
Cool. It's 39. I won't keep going. That closes it out for me.
I think that's it.
All right. Again, I hope you all take the lessons that we gave and the different things we're talking about, and I hope it gives you something that you need. Again, Coach's Corner is designed for you guys. It's designed for you all so you get something that you need from the discussions that we're already having. We hope that us sharing helps you help a family member. If you like what we do, like the dang video and share it with somebody. So that way we can get the word out there about this. Like, we want to bring this to you. You can even give us questions below. I will speak for myself. I have over a decade of experience in the physical fitness, let's say, spaces. So I'm a yoga instructor, I'm a kettlebell instructor, I'm a functional training instructor. Like, I can do all these different things. So when people ask me questions, I say time and effort is required, right? So if you'd like to ask questions, what's a great place to give other people help while helping yourself? Reach out. Let us answer those questions for you. All right. Till next time, people.
Peace.
Peace.